Hi everyone, I'm Silvia, and welcome to the most chaotic first cosplay ever you'll probably see today. I fell in love with Charlie's shield during the last episode of Hazbin Hotel. You know how it is. You see something shiny on screen, and suddenly your brain goes, yeah, I will now dedicate months of my life to this. And so here we are. I started with a sketch and had literally no idea what I was doing, but I printed it a few times until I found a dimension that looked right for me. Then I printed the full pattern on multiple A4 sheets, taped everything together, and voila! A questionable but functional template. Soon it was finally time to start with the actual project. After cutting out the template, I pinned it onto the foam using sewing pins, and I started tracing the shapes onto a big insulation panel. But first, I had to peel off the paper coating, because of course it couldn't just be ready to use. Once the surface was clean, I traced the base heart shape onto the foam. That single panel actually ended up being enough for the main shape and the wings. Of course, saying it like that makes it sound easy, but then came the actual cutting part. And let me tell you, cutting thick foam with nothing but a cutter, it's an Olympic sport. Every curve on this heart felt like it was personally designed to ruin my afternoon. I kept sharpening the blade like I was preparing for battle, but the foam still fought back every single time. If you see me struggling here, yeah, I was. Deeply. And honestly, I strongly recommend using a hot wire cutter for this, because doing it my way, it's basically a form of character development. Well, after cutting the heart, I sliced the remaining panel in half and used it to draw the centerpiece and the wings. Then everything got cut out. Badly, slowly, and with a lot of breaks in between to question my life choices. At some point, I tried using a Dremel to smooth the borders, which did not work at all. So I switched back to the old school method. So, of course, sandpaper and me crying in the background, but luckily you can't hear that. So, have a nice ASMR moment. Then I moved on to carving the inside of the centerpiece, and everything fell apart. No matter what I did, the inner curves refused to be smooth. I tried again, the Dremel, then with the cutter, then with some paper. I tried fixing it with filler and didn't work. I tried letting it dry and sanding, didn't work. I tried manifesting smoothness through sheer willpower, also didn't work. So I accepted that for what I was, a failure, and left the heart to dry while I worked on the belt handles. For the handles, I cut up an old belt I wasn't wearing anymore. I measured it so I could actually strap the shield to my arm, then cut small rectangles into the front of the base, where the belt pieces could slot in. With glue and toothpicks, I locked everything into place, covered the mess with some scrap foam, and set it to dry. The next day, Sunday, everything had dried, so I clipped off the toothpicks, sanded everything, and smoothed the whole front section with wood filler. This time, it actually worked. Then I revisited the centerpiece. With air dry clay, I fixed the entire central area, trying to give it actual curves and not the abstract geometry of someone losing their patience. Once that was kinda fixed, I set it aside to dry, and finally I was ready to start assembling the shield. Knew where each wing needed to go, cut the slots, tested the fit, and made a mistake, because of course I did. The middle wings were supposed to sit between the top and the bottom wings, but I cut them wrong, so I had to correct everything later by sculpting over the upper part of the lower wing. Yay, we love consistency. After gluing all the pieces down, I let everything dry. And when I say let everything dry, what I actually mean is that I left it there for a month. Not because it needed that long, but because life happened and the shield quickly aged in a corner of my room, like a fine wine. The only problem is that, unlike wine, one of the wings did not improve with time. It broke completely. So I patched it up using the longest toothpicks I could find and an irresponsible amount of wood glue. Did it hold? Well, let's just say it survived long enough for me to feel hopeful, right before breaking again on the first 5 minutes of my convention. Next came the snake body. I made a long structure out of aluminum foil, and if you ever make something like this, please use more foil than you think. No, seriously, your future self will thank you, because our dry clay, it's heavy. Then I used more toothpicks to strengthen the other wings to prevent other breakage, and after I finally realized my cutting error, I corrected the lower wings with more clay. Then I clearly left the chaos to dry again. After a couple of months had passed, I came back to cover the snake aluminum body with clay. A lot of clay. It became heavy enough to be legally considered a white weapon. But at least it looked good. After a bit of background music for you and a few months of forgetting this project existed for me, I came back to add the details. And here I am, months later. I tried to sketch the color varying parts with this marker, and Then, to make them more three-dimensional, I rolled dozens of tiny clay noodles to build them like a raised decoration. After a couple of attempts, I found the perfect method to stick the noodles on the shield. After applying wood glue on the base, add a clay noodle and smooth everything with the tip of a brush. After attacking one side of the noodle to the foam, then you can smooth it out with the brush part of the brush and water. This gives you one curved side and one side that melts into the surface, and also absolutely no mental stability. With that done, I used wood filler to close all the gaps between the raised pieces. On the top wing, I kind of regretted not using clay, but at this point I was too deep into it to go back. Then I realized I had forgotten the leaf. Of course. So I grabbed some cardboard, sketched the leaf shape, cut it, made a slit in the shield to insert it, and covered both sides of the cardboard with clay. I sculpted the stem, glued the leaf in place, and filled every remaining gap. By now, filling gaps was my entire personality. Then came the final step before painting, my homemade primer. 50% wood glue, 50% wood filler, a splash of water, just the necessary to make it run smooth. I did 3 full coats because if something is worth doing, it's also worth overdoing. And the painting, well, you won't see it on camera. Not because I made it, but because I painted the entire shield the night before the convention, in my hotel room, with terrible lightning, zero sleep, and the kind of energy that only pure desperation can provide. So, no footage, just know that it happened, it was chaotic, and somehow it worked. In the end, after months of cutting, sanding, sculpting, breaking things, fixing things, regretting things, and then doing them again, the shield was finally ready. Heavy, over-engineered, held together by glue, clay, and optimism, but ready. And honestly, for my first cosplay ever, I'm proud of it.